time's the charm reminds me of yesterday. So welcome in. Karen's gonna get you this link. We had to move over to my phone. This new computer system isn't working. And I wanna thank you for your patience because it's your graduation day. And we're trying to get our technology straight. I'm going to smudge because it's always a good thing to do. Karen is letting everyone know it's a beautiful new computer. It just doesn't work. But the best laid plans. So I want to welcome you in. I want to completely refocus as you join here, and I'm going to wait for just a few of you to pop on because I forgot to get a refill on my drink, which is okay. You go get them, Karen, and I'm going to sit tight and get ready to celebrate Crystalpedia graduation day today. I have actually really amazing content to share, and so I'm excited. Stall a few minutes. Okay, I'm gonna just grab a little more Diet Coke if that's okay, because my throat is really sore, and I will be right back. I'm fully refilled. I always feel like a product placement ad for Diet Coke or Dr. Pepper, whatever I'm situating myself with. All right, y'all, third time is the charm. I'm really sorry. Our new computer setup is really nice, but it doesn't work. And I promise you we will fix it before tomorrow, because I'm probably just gonna do you all on my phone so I can make absolutely sure that we're together on time. So happy you're here. So I'm going to start anew and afresh with you with no further ado. And if you have time, I will stay. I can't stay too long after the top of the hour because of Paxton. So I wasn't planning to be with you after 5 p.m. today, but we will go a few minutes after, because I want to make sure I give you the full experience, not only of your graduation day, which it is today, but also of the content that I have decided to share with you today. And I want to tell you, as I have mentioned to you before, you know, we collectively plan your classes at least 6 months in advance. And what I'm teaching you tonight with your Vajras, your Dorjis, I was inspired to bring to you at the beginning of the year. And we thought, wouldn't this be a cool class to bring you for your graduation? Because what I'm going to tell you is this: the practice that, does it look weird? I'm so sorry. I don't know how it looks. I feel like it looks normal on the screen, but hopefully it doesn't look weird to you. The practice that I'm going to teach you tonight is something that I've been working with myself for the last couple of months with. I didn't have your tools yet until maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when they started to ship to you. But I had my own Vajra, my own Dorji, which is what this symbol is. And so I started to integrate these mudras, these hand symbols in. They are called the mudras of offering, and they're also the mudras of integration. And since this month's entire theme is about integration and gosh, so much reflection, kind of pulling it all together, we are going to do a couple of things tonight. First, I'm going to also tell you, if you have a bell, please have your bell with you, because these are actually integrated tools in Tibetan Buddhism. If you are working with your own Vajra or your own Dorji, like you didn't get the tools because you already have one, that's totally cool. What I would recommend is grab your bell too, because you can either work with a bell and a Vajra, or you can work with, also known as a Dorji. Remember, Vajra and Dorji are interchangeable words for this shape. Or you can work with the two that came in your set. You do have to work with two tools, which is why I gave you two Dorjis. It's vertical, but it's fine. It's not, okay. I can turn it. I just was worried about whether I was going to be able to look in the right place. Is that better? Can you guys let me know if that is better? It says orientation is locked, rotate device back. Okay, I can't do that. I swear to you, I feel like every piece of technology at Sage Goddess is like conspiring to prevent us from doing our work together, but we're gonna persevere. Okay, I can't fix it, so I'm really sorry. Okay, so let me recap. We're going to work with Vajras and Dorjis tonight. We are going to work with a bell if you have it. We are going to work with the crystals of integration and reflection, which are on your worksheets for tonight. And we are going to celebrate and officiate your graduation ceremony this evening. That's what I have planned for you. As usual, and Karen has all the details because I don't have them, but your one of you, if you shop at sagegoddess.com, is going to win the whole tray of integration and reflection stones that I have for you, which I think is really cool, and they look beautiful presented here the way they are. So we're going to go through all these crystals, and then I think Karen will correct us, but I think you have until midnight tomorrow to shop and win the whole set. So I will wait on Karen to let us know. And Team SG, if there is something I can do to fix my orientation, please let me know. Michelle has a fantastic question, and can I give you a funny answer? But it's actually an authentic answer. Can I give it to you? If you don't have any tools tonight, I want you to, and a friend of mine taught me this, who's a Tibetan Buddhist. I'm totally serious. Can we get weird for a minute? If you don't have any tools tonight, you can't always do this with just any symbol, but you can with the Vajra and the Dorji. Take a piece of paper and divide it in half so that you have two, okay? There are a lot of people in Nepal and Tibet who do not have these tools. They would love to have them. They don't have one, they can't afford one, whatever it is, okay? And if you're looking for Crystalpedia, you are in the right place. Karen will tell you, you are absolutely in the right place. We just had 19 technical difficulties like we had yesterday. We're working on our new system. So if you don't have tools, can you see what I'm doing? I wanna make sure you can follow me. What you're gonna do is you're going to draw this symbol on each piece of paper, okay? So, you know me and my art. I am not an amazing artist. Mine is gonna look like a God knows what, okay? And then you're going to fold it. They say three folds each way, okay? And then you're gonna draw a second one. If you don't have your tools for tonight, I'm giving you a backup plan. So you're gonna draw the Dorji or the Vajra and 3 folds so that you have 3 pieces on each side. Because there's 3 parts to the Vajra, which I will teach you, okay? And then instead of holding your Dorjis tonight during our mudras, you're going to hold your papers. Isn't that cool? What I love about telling you that is it is actually something that is practiced by some people who do not have their tools in these Tibetan countries. So they will draw them, they will do the mudras with their papers. They will actually then take the papers and open it afterward and leave it on their altar because, and Karen, I'm not seeing that people are kind of tracking what I'm saying, so hopefully you guys can see me. Isn't this cool? So they will actually then, after they activate with these mudras, they will take these, open them, and leave them on their altar and place a candle on top of it or some incense on top of it and almost build an altar piece out of it. Here's what I will tell you. It is better to do this than to use your harmonizers. It is not the same tool. It does not have the same lineage or intention, and it's not the same shape. So I would prefer for you to draw them and make yourself these sacred piece, these offerings. I think it's really beautiful to do that as a practice. And what's really cool is if you decide, I'll show you again, if you decide that you want to teach this practice and you don't have the tools to offer, mine is such not a good drawing. I'll show you what I did, but it's so terrible. I'm trying really hard. It sort of looks like a double-sided penis, but it is a dorji. It's the best I can do for you right now. If you decide to teach this practice that I'm teaching you tonight and you go, let's say you go and teach a class somewhere and not everybody who comes to your class has the Vajra, this is a way you can share this with people who do not have the tools. And so it is better, believe it or not, to draw it than it is to use a harmonizer, which is not the correct shape. Okay? Okay, and by the way, happy holidays too. I know it's hard to come and spend time in class right before Christmas and Yule, so I just wanted to say Diet Coke cheers to you for even being here tonight. And I'm glad you're here because it is your graduation and it is the last Crystalpedia class. Crystals are woven all the way through Apothecary, which is the new program for next year, which I'll talk about briefly at the end of our time together tonight. So there are crystals everywhere in next year's program. So you're not going to miss out on crystal education. In fact, in some ways, some months are going to be more crystal heavy than they are even herbs and oil heavy because every month is so different. For example, I had a pink marble mortar and pestle made for you. It's so beautiful for one of the class tools for one of the months. So, but the crystals are woven in as tools next month for your big altar that you're building for the year. So you're going to get tons of crystal education next year, but in the context of ceremony. So it'll be less about the stones of X kind of thematic like it was this year. And it'll be more about, oh, we're working with a mortar and pestle, and the mortar and pestle is made out of rose quartz and pink marble, which I think is super cool. Okay. Is no one allowed to make their own dorji, or is it allowed to be made by a spiritual or indigenous person? It needs to be, so yours were made in India, right near the Tibetan border. And we were pretty particular about that. It's not mine to tell you whether someone who's not in India or Indonesia or Tibet should make them for you, but we had them made by people who know exactly what this tool is. And the quartz has some chlorite in it. It's quartz from that exact area, the border of India and Nepal, Tibet. So it's actually, technically it's Tibetan quartz. So all I can tell you is what I think you should have, which is something from the region. Technically they are Tibetan quartz. The other thing is, I do want to tell you the story of these, but I don't want to take too much of your time. So I came to Team SG, was it 6 months ago, 8 months ago? And I said, I want to teach this class on how to do sacred mudras with double dorjis, one in each hand. And my team was like, what do you mean? You want to have 2 dorjis in quartz for everybody? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, quartz dorjis like this are like $50 a piece. You want 2 for each person? And it was almost like we were having this funny conversation. So I was like, yeah, I want 2 dorjis for each person in the group as their tool for this class, because I want you to use one in each hand. And it was almost like repeating it over and over again because it was so difficult to do. And then the first sample came back and they were like, this is kind of, it didn't have the exact carvings. And I was like, no, it has to have, and I'll show you, it has to have faceting going north-south on the top and bottom, and facets, cuts going east-west in the middle. So they were like, I mean, I will tell you, what you got this month for tools is worth about $100. My team literally was like, you want a what for what? So I don't know how we actually had these hand carved for you, but they are all hand carved, okay? And yes, my understanding is you get the 2 Georgies as your tools. Karen can confirm, but my understanding is you got the 2 together, because that's what we're doing with our mudras. Aren't they incredible? So there is real wisdom, real knowledge, real energy, and these are all hand carved. They were hand carved just for you. The quartz is magnificent. The energy is good. It's clear. It was mined and carved in the same place. So there's nothing kind of, you know, sometimes you can feel how quartz maybe came from one place and then was shipped somewhere else and carved somewhere there, and then it was shipped back, and all these different, you can feel like how stones have gone through too much of a process. These are an absolute Sage Goddess miracle. We will all look back as a team one day and go, do you remember when we gave them 2 quartz Dorjies? For I think it was like $44, wasn't it? It was crazy. So anyway, enjoy. I'm really glad that you're loving them, and hopefully you can feel the vibration and the energy of them. The first thing I want to tell you is you need to decide what is left and right, and I want you to grab your pendulum. If you have one. If you don't have one, that's okay. They naturally have a left and a right, okay? But each pair is different, and each pair and how it resonates with you is going to be different. So I want you to separate them by at least 6 inches, and I want you to ask your pendulum, is this the left? And the pendulum is saying no. Is this the left? Leave it to me to have them wrong. Not wrong, in the wrong place. Is this the left? Okay. Is this the right? Okay. This is the correct pair for us to be working with right now. Okay. Now, if you don't have Georgies at all, you can draw them on your piece of paper, and that will totally work, and that's your alternative. If you have your bell, please have your bell. Yay! I'm so glad you're here, and I am so proud of you tonight again. It's like, it's our graduation. It's one of my favorite teachings of the year, so I hope you're really excited about this. We love it. Sonia says hers were crisscrossed too, so whatever. You know what I mean? We figure it out eventually. Mine are slightly different. My left one is a little clearer and my right one is a little more cloudy, so I kind of like that. It reminds me, I mean, it's feminine and masculine, right? So we could say that the feminine is a little more clear and the masculine is a little more cloudy. I don't know. I'm making up things as I go along, but we're in the right place. If you don't mind, I'm gonna do tonight's work with the papers and the Dorjies just to kind of show you what that looks like, at least for one of the mudras. Like I said, my goal is for you to be teachers, and my hope is, and I will be sincerely honored, my goal is for you to take some of the things you've learned this year and share them with people that you love, whether it's you as a teacher. What I love is that people have told me that they're teaching crystal healing classes in their local communities, or they're going into local bookshops and doing little pop-ups and stuff, and they're teaching some of the techniques that I've shared with you this year, which is huge for me. You have to know that. Can you imagine being a teacher and someone saying, that practice you taught us, or that technique that you taught us, I took that, whether it's remote healing or, working with some of the, teaching people how to work with it's been a long day, teaching people how to work with your, what am I thinking? I'm so focused on Vajras and Dorjies. Anyway, Vogels and extracting energy. Like that for me is the biggest compliment you can give me. So I hope that you will teach people, and I will show you both with the papers and the tools. So first things first, I want to come back to the shape, okay? Yeah, it's good if yours are different, right? I'm happy about the fact that mine are different. First of all, they're handmade, so they're going to be different. If you wanted these to be exactly identical, they would have to be made by machines. My right one is self-healed too. It has a half fracture on it, which crystal healers always want self-healed tools, because it means that this stone cracked when it was developing and it healed itself in the process, which I think is super cool. Okay. Oh, you guys. Okay, so are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? The Vajra, the Dorji, I want to come back to the symbol for just a minute. I meant to bring my big mama Vajra from home to show you. I have a large one it's actually mostly metal. It's not mostly stone, but it's a treasure to me. It's not worth a lot of money, but I've just worked with it for so long, and I brought it down on my little entry table and left it there when I left today. So I apologize. I don't have my like personal one to show you tonight. Usually I like to do a little show and tell, and I literally walked off and left mine at home. But what I'm going to tell you is these will become some of your favorite tools in your whole collection once we're finished tonight. And this is true to Tibetan Buddhist practice. I want to talk about this shape. I was introduced to the concept of the Vajra or the Dorji I was really trying to think about this morning. I think it's about almost 20 years ago now. And I've been really blessed because along my path, I've had different colleagues, even at university. I had a colleague who was a Tibetan Buddhist, and sitting on his desk, we were both PhD professors. He worked for the World Bank, but sitting on his desk was his Vajra. And I remembered we had a whole conversation about it because he said it's the secret weapon that nobody knows about in the West. It is so important for people in the East to have this tool. And like I said, it's so important that even if they don't have one physically, they will draw the shape in order to continue to work with it. So that's why I taught you that option tonight. This is called the Thunderbolt of Enlightenment. Thunderbolt of Enlightenment. And the reason is it represents, and I want you to think about this because you know me, I love to thread the needle. I really love to think about the connections between different spiritual practices. And so if you think about shamanism, lower world, middle world, upper world, there is such an automatic connect to the Vajra or the Dorji, which represents the world of man, the world of spirit, or I'm sorry, the world of the earth, the herbs, the plants, the bones, the world of spirit, and then where we live in the middle, which is the Kaipacha or the here now moment or whatever you want to call it, right? But in shamanism, we also have the lower world, which is bones and stones, the upper world, which is archangels, master teachers, ascended masters, and then the human existence. One of the reasons I was such a stickler for these is even within and this is why I wanted to teach you this tonight because I'm really excited, even within the world of humans, do you see how there's 3 ridges? There are 3 layers among us, okay? There is the layer of us, humans, who are working at lower vibrations and lower levels of consciousness. And when I say this to you, I'm not saying it with judgment, okay? I have a feeling you'll understand what I'm talking about, but I'm not saying like, oh, these people aren't as ascended or they're not as spiritual, they're not as knowledgeable, but there are people who are operating from a lower frequency on this planet. Now, there's different reasons for that, and almost every spiritual tradition recognizes it. Some of them have poor intentions, ill intentions. Some of them simply have had fewer lifetimes to evolve and gather energy and wisdom. Some of them consciously make a choice, and yes, Christiana, I'll get to that in just a second. Some of them consciously make a choice to not integrate in this lifetime. Now, different things account for that, and there's lots of schools of wisdom about this. Is it the chicken or the egg? Do they not grow, evolve, and heal because their life circumstances prevent it, or do they not grow, heal, and evolve because they choose not to? But this lower level of consciousness is one of the bands of humanity. The middle level of consciousness is where most of us live and sit, okay? And the reality is, you can say, well, where am I? I don't know. And I'm going to go a step further and say, some days I feel like I'm, you know, on this upper band, like I'm healing and I'm growing and I'm trying to do better and be better and know better and ascend. And then some days I feel like, like I'm not doing a very good job. I don't know. I mean, I'm just being real and human with you. There are times where I feel like, am I really on my path? Am I really like doing good work and good service? Am I stuck in jealousy and resentment and anger? And, you know, am I part of the problem, or am I part of the solution, right? And some days, so I think the challenge of humanity is, if you want my honest theory, I think we're all of them. I think we are the middle band, which is, and I know so many people in this middle band who consciously sit here, and bless them, because I think their path sometimes is a little easier. They're just here to experience. They're not judging the experience. They don't have huge expectations. They kind of go with the flow. Does that make sense? They're not trying to, they don't expect of themselves that they are going to shift the paradigm while they're here. They're here to experience whatever life brings them. And some of the dearest folks in my life fall into that middle band, and I'm grateful for them, because sometimes they really ground us. The upper band of folks are the people, in my experience, who are here to have a conscious spiritual experience. They're here to transcend the physical. Basic explanations for things don't satisfy them. It's not enough. They don't believe that when you die, you get put in a box and the lights go out and that's it. They believe that there is some kind of afterlife. And again, it doesn't matter whether you're Christian or whether you're Buddhist or Muslim or whatever. Every faith has people in this upper band who just believe there's more to it than we can see with our human eyes, and that they are here to experience the edges of consciousness. I also believe that these are people who are here to consciously help to shift the consciousness of the planet and raise the vibration. It's a great question from Natividad. Are they more aware? I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you, because I think sometimes the middle band and the lower band are very aware. My grandmother was a minister, and she was famous for saying, remember that the devil can quote scripture. These folks who operate either consciously or subconsciously, and I'm not saying they're evil, but I'm saying there are actually people on this planet who are here to disrupt. I call them disruptors, and they are here to disrupt the evolution of consciousness. There are people down here who are very aware and choose to participate in a low vibration. There are also people down here who are usually up here at the top level and just are going back and forth because they're human and they had a bad day and they participated in a dynamic they shouldn't. Here's the difference, I think, at the levels, and I don't know if this is interesting to you at all, so I welcome your feedback. I think most of us go back and forth, except the people who came here to disrupt and cause chaos, and the people who consciously came here as almost like ascended beings, and I don't put myself in that category. I put myself in the category of somebody who's in the middle, but really trying to live on this higher rung and trying to do better when I fall below it. Does that make sense? I think I'm in the middle and just doing my best. I have met people on the upper tier, and I bet you have too. And I always, whenever I meet those people, it's almost like they're like angels. It's almost like I expect them to disappear out of the room when I'm not looking. Does that make sense? It's like, are you even human? Like, there's just something so transcendent about them. And they never have a bad day, where I have a bad day and I can be a real asshole, and then I kind of shift my vibration and go back up to a higher consciousness. Okay, so that is why there's 3 rungs at the middle world, and then there's the world above, which brings us to the portal. These are the portal points, okay? And then the world below and the portal points. So this is the portal point to go to the deepest levels of this planet, and then if you are a shamanic practitioner, down into you know, the entire lower realm, which takes you into ancestral work and all of those things. And then the portal point to the upper realm, which takes you to the vastness of the entire cosmos. By the time we're done tonight, you should feel a little buzzy, okay? I don't think that's a bad thing. I think feeling a little buzzy and woozy after you work with your tools tells you you're actually doing the right thing. This is not a crystal that goes on your healing tray and goes away. These are not things that get put in a drawer and you never remember them again. I want you to think of these as sacred as your chumpy stones. Does that make sense? These are as sacred as your chumpy stones. They're just from a different tradition. And I would not keep them by your bedside unless you're trying to do astral travel. I would keep them wherever you meditate. I would keep them wherever you write if you're a writer, wherever you create music if you're a musician, wherever you, whatever it is that you do. If you're a teacher, you should bring them with you wherever you go and teach your classes. Do you feel buzzy? I will tell you, I can't hold mine for a totally long time without kind of having an out-of-body experience. So if you see me pick them up and put them down and pick them up and put them down, it's because it's too much for me. But we are also going to activate these tonight, and I've already activated mine. So that is the next step. I normally ask for questions at the end, but tonight is complicated and we haven't gotten to the meat on the bone yet. Do you have any questions about Vajras, Dorjis, why it is a tool of transformation, what the 3 levels represent? Do you have any questions about any of that? They're already vibrating in your hands. We haven't even activated them yet. Okay. If you have questions, it's a great, I normally, like I said, wait till the end for questions, but I just want to make sure if you have any questions about what the tools mean or why they're shaped like this. I would also, yes, Elaine, it's a great question. I would also use your pendulum to discern which is your left and right paper. And I'll do that for you now just to show you what that looks like. I kind of like how the camera is because you can see my desk, but you may not like it. So I know because it's kind of wonky for you, but it is kind of nice for you to be able to see my pendulum. So is this left? Is this right? Okay, look at me, I got it right. You may have to do what I did at the beginning though and switch them, okay? If you're using paper, you are going to activate the paper, okay? If you have a quartz point of any kind, it would be nice to use that to activate your, there's wax on my double term from one of our events when I charged it by flame. I would use your quartz point to activate, but you can also use your finger if you're going to use your finger to activate. This is for paper. Use your right index finger. That's your projecting hand. So don't use your left hand to activate, even if you're left-handed, okay? It's kind of cool for you to see the setup. Okay, so are you ready to activate these? That's the next step. So the way you activate them is you either take your papers, the right in your right hand, the left in your left hand, or your Dorjis, your Vajras. I'm gonna hold both, okay, to activate both. Your drawing does not have to be great. Mine sucks. It's the energy of it that matters, and it's your intention that matters. This is not an art class. This is magic, okay? So I want you to take your 2, and we are using the Aloke mantra. Aloke, I spelled it A-L-O-K-E. It's a translation from Sanskrit, which means the lights, okay, or flames, or lamps. Some people translate Aloke as lamps. You are going to bring your 2 hands together with your thumbs pointed up like this, and this is how you activate the Vajras in Tibetan Buddhism, okay? So it looks like this. Your knuckles are together, okay? Your fingertips are your fingernails are together, and your thumbs are pointing up. And I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to visualize that your hands stop being hands for a minute, and they start being lights. That can be a candle, that can be a lamp, that can be whatever source of light really resonates with you. It can be like lighting incense sticks, and it's the flame that that comes up from the incense sticks, but it doesn't matter what it is. You're just turning your hands into light energy. Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes for just a second. And I want you to take a breath there. You do not need to open a circle for this activation because you are raising such a powerful, intense frequency of light that in the practice, there isn't a circle open before it. If you want to open a circle, you can, but you don't need to, okay? Nothing can penetrate what we're doing right now. You have 2 Vajras in your hands, which is one of the most protective symbols and carvings on the entire planet, in the entire history of our civilization. So nothing's coming into this sitch unless you ask it to come in, okay? So I first want you to bring your full attention to the lamp on your left Vajra or Dorji. And I want you to imagine it like a beacon of light. And I want you to, even though you can't see it right now, it's in your hand, I want you to imagine that the center of the Vajra, the 3 lines, become illuminated, almost like circles of light. And that beam of light shoots out the top of that top portal and out the bottom of that bottom portal and becomes like a lightning bolt. These are also called lightning bolts, and you'll see that if you do your research. Vajras are known as lightning bolts of transformation, okay? It's hard for me to do this with you and focus because it's such an intense meditation for me. So you are literally anchoring in a lightning bolt through your hand and activating this tool. And so we activate the left lamp, anchoring that lightning bolt into the ground and up to the cosmos and pulling it through our arm and into our own bodies. And I want you to feel how your entire energy field, you know, that octahedron of energy that you are, opens to receive this energy. Yeah, I think that's true. I think some acts do cast their own circles, and this one does. We humans think we're in control of everything, but it's very powerful. Do you feel it? It doesn't matter if you have the paper or the tool. You're going to feel it. Magic is magic. Now, here's where it gets really fun. You're going to lift your hands. Yeah, we turned the music off, so there's actually no music. If you're hearing music, it's coming from your side. It's in your space. We turned it off for you. You're going to lift your hands now and connect your thumbs and your forefingers. And you're going to send the lightning bolt from the left to the right. This is what I was so excited about tonight. You feel it? And then you're going to bring your fingernails back together, raise the thumbs. And now you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to send that lightning bolt of energy down through the center of the earth. You're going to see those 3 rings of light around the middle, right? You're going to send it up through your thumbs, down through your pinky and your wrist and your elbow down into the center of the earth. And you're going to anchor your right lightning bolt. And so we are activating the left lightning bolt to call in divine feminine energy, receiving, creating, opening. And we are activating the right lightning bolt to penetrate, to push, to manifest. And then we celebrate the union of the 2 as they come together. Isn't that beautiful? And we can feel that pulsing coming through, and you can extend your hands out the way I am right now to feel that, and then separate them again and feel it and separate it again. And take a big breath there. Now, I want you to sit your tools down for a minute. I need a minute, okay? I'm a practitioner too. And that was for me, it's a lot of energy because the way I feel crystals is very intense and overwhelming sometimes, especially these tools. So I'm going to take just a minute. I'm going to rub my hands together. I'm going to ground the energy down into the table just because it's a lot of energy that's flowing. I hear something, but it's so low I can't even make it out. So we can still check, but I want to tell you, I think the music is off or very low. Okay, yeah, I'm a little My hands are vibrating. If you want to test the flow of this energy, like if you're a cynic like me, because I'll tell you, for as long as I've been doing this, I'm still cynical. I'm still cynical. Isn't that funny? I'm still like, prove it. Show me that it's real. Prove it to me. First of all, put your hands together and then pull them apart, and you can feel the vibration through your hands, right? It should feel warm and kind of tingly and kind of staticky a little bit, almost like, I always say it's like cotton candy, like it's fuzzy a little bit. I'm so glad you're here. Your head is spinning. I would say I'm sorry, but I'm not happy I'm making your head spin tonight, darling. Now, I always like to double check. Is the left Vajra activated? I mean, I could feel it. I would be shocked if it wasn't. Is the right Vajra activated? Okay. God, for caffeine. Now, what I want to tell you is, if you are a healer, and a lot of you are, and if you are someone who does remote healing or distance healing or not, you do physical healing, you're a body worker, light worker, veterinarian, we have vets in our community, we have nurses, we have doctors. If you have to do healing work of any kind, I would really encourage you, look how fast this is. Bring it together, bring your tools together, connect the lightning bolts, send them down, reactivate the tools again, and then what you do is you hold them in your hands out like that. Now you can direct them over someone's physical body. This is why these I wanted little mini ones for you, because they're like little power tools. You can move the hands over. If you've had pain or discomfort, do it for yourself. I'm taking these home tonight to work with my dog. It is amazing how once those lightning bolts are activated, I'm moving them over the crystals actually, because this is a gift for someone. So I think this is really cool to send that. You can charge other tools with it. Same thing with your papers, right? So you bring your papers together. So you bring your thumbs together, you connect them, you reactivate the lightning bolts, you send the energy, and then you bring them down. Again, over the body, over someone else, over the tools, whatever it is that you're doing. You now have, these are active, okay? They stay activated until you deactivate them. To deactivate your tools, I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want to deactivate mine, but I'm going to tell you what you do. You do the exact same exercise. Bring them together. I don't have tools right now. You bring them together, you connect, you pull them apart, and you draw the energy up from below and down from above, and you release them. I've never had anyone deactivate their Vajras or Dorjis, because usually people are working with tools like this to have them active. You know what I mean? So, but let's talk about a hypothetical scenario. Let's say that you wanted to give these to somebody else. So you wanted them to be able to, you wanted to teach them how to activate them, and you wanted them to have their own like vibration or their own energy on it. Then maybe you would want to deactivate them. Does that make sense? So that when you're giving them to them, it's not your energy that's connected to them. So let's say, I don't know, you were going to hand these down to your sister or your kid or your, you know, your godchild or whatever. You may want to release your own thunderbolts and give them to them so that they can then activate them with their own energy. That's a situation I can imagine. It's cool, isn't it? I mean, okay, we're not done. Are you ready? We only activated them. I have 3 other mantras or mudras I want to teach you tonight. Now, I'm going to tell you one more thing. This is important. If you only have one Vajra, because I only had one before this toolkit. Me personally, I only had one. So the way I was taught, and so if you only have one, I'm going to teach you a different technique really quickly, okay? You can sub as long as the bell has the Vajra on it, which this was our class bell, so your bell has the Vajra on it, you can sub a bell for a dorji if it has the symbol. So you're supposed to hold it by the, because this is basically the bottom of the Vajra and this is the top. You would do the exact same thing. So you can sub your bell if you only have a single Vajra and still activate the same energy through it. Isn't that cool? Otherwise, they are activated forever and ever and ever, 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 and always. Amen. Does it matter which is left and which is right after activating? Yes, it does. It will always matter which is left and which is right. So does anybody have just a single Vajra and a bell? I wanted to teach you that because it is an important practice. It's cool because it brings us back to one of our original tools. So it teaches you, because my goal with Sage Goddess, I mean, honestly, over all these years, is to give you tools that you build a collection over time. I don't think we have a bell coming in next year's tools. So if you have the bell from this year, you're going to continue to use this bell forever. And the reason we put the Vajra on it was kind of imagining a bookending experience where you would start with the bell and end with the bell, which I think is really cool. Okay. I'm not going to use my bell because I want to work with my tools, but if you have a bell, that's a great sub. I know. Isn't it cool? I love my bell too, Chris. God, I'm so happy. By the way, I sent you a private message about Paxton the other day, but he's doing better, so I didn't mean to bother you. I accidentally, it's always embarrassing when I accidentally call people on Facebook. I did accidentally call you. I feel sometimes like I'm, as hip as I am to social media, I accidentally call people sometimes, or then last night I was messaging somebody and on Instagram, and I accidentally went into vanish mode, and I don't know what that is. So then all their messages disappeared, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like such a grandma. I put you in vanish mode and I don't know what you wrote me. So if I accidentally like pocket dial you on Facebook one of these days, any of you, I just want to apologize in advance. I'm not always like the most skilled when it comes to my technology. So Michelle, unfortunately, the bell has to have the Vajra on it to be worked with in this way. I know it sucks. I wish I could tell you like any tool would do the trick, but that's why this specific shape is so powerful. That bell is awesome, and you can use actually that bell to activate grids and open circles and all kinds of things, but it doesn't sub for this. It's really embarrassing when people are like, are you okay? Like, did you mean to call me? And it's like, I sat on my phone and my right butt cheek called you. Okay. Anyway, he's doing better, but I appreciate you even seeing that I had reached out to you. Okay. I remembered which one is my left and my right. Can I teach you the rest of the mudras? They're really important. So I want to go through the rest of them. You deleted your password app by accident. That makes me feel better. Okay. I know we still have to go through all of our stones of integration, and we still have to do our graduation, and I know we have a lot to do tonight. So it's all going to happen. It's all happening for us, but I'm so excited to teach you these other mudras. Okay. Yeah, I will keep you posted. Okay. Let me just make sure where I want to start first. Okay. For all of these, I'm going to teach you the mudra, but I want you to have your papers or your vajras, your dorjis, in your hands already, okay? Because for this one, for example, which is Argam, which is for abundance and prosperity, you can't do this and then, I mean, I guess you can, but it would be really hard to pick up your tools afterward. So hold on to these, and then I'm going to teach you this next mudra, okay? Argam or Argam is the mudra of water. And I know it's hard to do. I'm asking you to be like kind of coordinated, but just do the best you can, okay? You're going to hold them in your hands, your lightning bolts. You're going to interlock your fingers, and you're going to turn your hands outward and make a little bowl, okay? This is for abundance and life force. And so let's say you are praying for a good harvest or praying for abundance whether it's, you know, financial abundance or what else would be good for water, right? Like you're calling in nurturing or divine support, or you're calling in healing. I mean, honestly, in the West, I always think of healing, right? I think of healing water. Water heals your body. Being in water is very healing. So, or if you're at a new moon, this would be so cool to do at a new moon. Set an intention for abundance, right? And then do your Argam mudra. So you're going to hold this out, close your eyes, and touch the 2 points of the Vajras together. So let me do it again. I know it's a lot. I have small fingers too, so I'm kind of screwed. So you're going to hold them in your hands. You're going to interlock your fingers, and you're going to stretch your hands out and make like a little bowl and touch the 2 points together. Try to keep your fingers interlocked. Like you're trying to hold energy in there. Yeah, and Tina's right. Like Yin energy, feminine pleasure, play, abundance, healing, nurturing, like all of those things would be invoked by this particular mudra. And then just close your eyes, take a deep breath in. Now, what's really cool about this, exhale, I'm going to show you what you're basically doing is taking that lightning bolt of energy, connecting it here, and you're sending it in both directions. So you're calling in abundance, and you're also sending abundance because you have the feminine energy on the left and the masculine energy of the right. But you're holding that abundance in your own hands. Isn't that cool? Do you see why I was so excited to do this? By the way, I learned about Vajras and Dorjis in one tradition. I learned about these mudras separately. The weaving of these together is my own teaching. So if you like it, great. If it doesn't work for you, that's okay. This isn't something that people normally don't do this. So I'm doing like a hybrid. I love hybrid teaching, but I'm kind of bringing the two practices, the 2 tools together. This is not something that you would like find in a book. This is something I put together for you in my own little heart and soul. But I think it's cool. Okay, the next one is my favorite. Okay, some people call it the pushpe or the pupe. Okay, pushpe or pupe, depends on how you pronounce it. This is the mudra of flowers. So again, we're going to hold our 2 Vajras, our Dorjis, in our hands. We're going to bring them together and touch them. And we're going to reach down and take your index finger and your thumb. We're going to reach down and pretend like we're picking a flower. Just imagine it with me. You're picking a flower. Hold them together and pick. And then you're going to open your hands and toss the flowers. So again, you're reaching down, picking a flower. I know it's hard, and tossing the flowers. This one is for beauty. It is for gratitude, and it is for honoring the earth. So it's kind of like a way of creating a sacred offering. It's also acknowledging the beauty that's around you. And it takes you out of stress, anxiety, tension. It takes you out of anger and greed and all of the, I mean, think what a flower represents. A flower represents triumph of nature over forces, right? It is a plant expressing its truest beauty. So it can be picking a fruit too, right? I'm always amazed, and we'll talk more about this in Apothecary next year, that oranges have the same gestation cycle as human beings. All citrus does. Lemons, limes, oranges, and grapefruit take 9 months to produce. And I drink lemon juice every day. I think you know this. I'm now doing a different technique. I bought myself a citrus juicer, and every Sunday I juice together lemons, limes, and grapefruits. And I drink about 2 ounces of it a day. Because for me, it's very cleansing for my system. It just makes me feel good. I don't know if it has anti-aging properties, but my friends swear that it does, so I continue to do it. But every time I juice a lemon, I literally think, as hard as I worked to make Nick and Zoe, is how hard that lemon tree worked to make that lemon, that I'm just sitting there juicing like it's no big deal. you ever think about that? 9-month cycle for citrus. So let's, again, it is pushpe or pupe. Pushpe is always what I've heard, but I also hear pupe or pushpe. So that is the mantra. The mudra is reach down, pick the fruit, and release. And basically what it's doing is it's honoring that you are receiving the gifts of the earth and you are returning those gifts with gratitude. So it's both gathering and releasing. Isn't that beautiful? I bought the crappiest juicer I could find online on Amazon. It's not great, and it works so well. The reviews were really good. It was like 20 bucks. It's not like a super nice quality one, but I just bushed. And then it works for ginger. So I also take my ginger root, cut all the ginger roots in half, and I put that on my juicer too. And it adds just a little bit of ginger juice into my juice, which helps with my digestion. Something to think about. Okay. The next one, so we did light, we did flowers, we did argan, which is drinking water. The next one is Mde. I've heard two different versions of this, Mde and Gande. Mde, Gande, okay? For perfume. This is one of my favorite ones. I'll show you the mudra, Mde or Gande. I do Mde because it's what I memorized. So you take them together. You ready for a fun one? Think of what perfume represents, right? It's essential oils and flowers, and it's anointing, and it's acknowledging your body, and it's connecting with sensuality, and it's raising your vibration, and it's activating your sacral chakra, and but it activates all your senses, right? So you bring them together, and then you take them and you touch them to your skin wherever you like to apply perfume. So I always do a little at my third eye for what I know, a little bit at my wrists for what I do, a little bit at my ankles to bless my steps. Isn't that sweet? And what that's doing is activating all your pressure points. It's when you bring them together, you're connecting the lightning bolt. You've already activated these, and now you're bringing that energy into your system and pretending like it's anointed. Now you want to take it next level. I really hope you love this class as much as I do, because I've been waiting a year to teach it, and I'm so stoked to finally be talking to you about this. It's like keeping everything behind the scenes. Okay, take your Living Magic mist and just anoint the ends of your vajras. And then do it with actual perfume. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, come on. That's sexy. Tanya's like 2 steps ahead of me. Yeah, so I'm using your December Living Magic essence, which I just love so much. Mine's almost gone. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, again, to all your pulse points and all your pressure points, if you're having pain, can you imagine? Alternate sides. You're going to use your right side to heal your left side, and you're going to use your left side to heal your right side. You can draw like sacred symbols. Like you can actually draw your vajra or your mudra on your arms. Isn't that cool? It's sexy. Okay, and then the next one I want to teach you is I think the last one I want to teach you, hands are going outward like you're holding a tray. So I'm going to show you the mudra first. This is called Hewide or Hayweed. Hewide or Hayweed. You're going to touch the 2 points together. Then without releasing your index fingers until your pinkies touch, you're going to bring the other points together and make a tray, okay? I know it's tricky. So let me try that again, because I didn't even do a perfect job of it. Index fingers together. You're going to try to keep your index fingers together until your pinkies touch, and you make a tray. This is the mudra for the masculine. So the perfume and the water are all feminine. This one represents herbs, it represents food, it represents everything grounding in you. Isn't that cool? This is a cool one too if you want to manifest. I do think of this as, I think of the water basket and this particular mudra as the manifestation mudras. Now try to keep your thumbs on the other side. So again, you're connecting, you're waiting until the pinkies touch, you're bringing the other points together and then bringing your thumbs here. So you're literally making a tray of your tools. Yeah, if you're just joining now, it might be a little hard to track, but not impossible. And we're almost done with our mudra work, Tina. So you might want to stay for graduation and the worksheet portion and Q&A. But I would recommend, because I think, Tina, this is right up your alley. I really do. I think you'll enjoy it. And like I was telling everybody, it's been one of my favorite teachings of the year. So I hope you enjoy it too. Now they smell good. And again, whenever you want to reset, okay, so we've gone through all of these activations together, all of these mudras together. When you want to reset, what do? You create your lights, okay? So you hold them in your hands, thumbs are up, you connect your fingernails, then you connect the two and you bring them back down, and that is a reset. It doesn't deactivate, it brings the energy back to the light space. So again, we talked about this as well, and I think, you know, the conversation we had was so incredibly powerful around how some rituals and some ceremonies open their own circles, right? They activate their own kind of light field or energy field so that you don't have to worry about that. Isn't that cool? Well, the nice thing is you have this class in perpetuity. So some of you probably tonight were like, oh my God, I've got one of these and I didn't even realize it. I bet you at least one person who's watching right now, and you don't have to out yourself, but I would be that student, would be watching and going, I think I have one of these somewhere and I didn't even realize it. Because we brought them to you at Sage Goddess for eons. I mean, I think for at least 10 years we've been bringing you Vajras and Dorjis. So you probably have one somewhere, and then you're watching tonight and you're going, I have one of these somewhere. If it breaks, can you glue it back together? That is a very personal choice. In my school of thought, glue is not harmful to stones. One of my favorite tools at home is a chalice that I got from Momo. But the only way to make those is to glue the stone cup to the brass base. You can't make them without gluing them. You know what I mean? So, and I was noticing last night because I was taking a picture of it, I'm like, I can see kind of where the glue attachment is. It's one of my favorite things in my entire collection. So yeah, if it broke and you want to put it back together, where do I have it here to show you? Where is it actually? Oh, I do, look at this. Look. In the old building. They were rearranging my altar and they knocked over my quartz generator on my altar. The team back in the day. And they felt terrible. They felt really bad. And I was like, it's okay. It's really okay. They felt so bad. And they took it and they did this with it. And you know, it's one of my favorite things because they wabi-sabied it. They glued it and then they gold leafed it to put it back together. Isn't that beautiful? It is 100 times prettier the way it looks now than it did before it broke. Isn't it gorgeous? So it's not self-healed, but it's healed, but it cracked all the way along. And so, I mean, Madonna, that's where I'm going to tell you, I mean, the energy feels really good. And Karen's saying the same thing. Like, this is going to have to be one of those places where you trust your intuition. There are some people who will say, no glue, can't do that. Like they don't make wands where we attach stones with glue and things like that. That's not their jam. And I'm never going to be the one to tell you, yes, that's good, or no, that's bad, or whatever. I'm never going to tell you that. Yeah, kintsugi is the practice, that's right, of piecing back together. And you can read all about the practice of reforming or sort of repairing, right? I love the word repair because pair means putting two things together, and re is to put back together, right? So repairing, literally repairing, right? I love the word remember because to member something is, again, to unify it, and remembering, if you remember something, you're reunifying your own consciousness, you're integrating your own wisdom, which, by the way, is totally the theme of tonight's class. And I think this ended up being a really interesting little side step because it actually connects to all of these. So yeah, all of the shram pieces that we had for you in the Vajra and the Dorji, I think are perfect tools to work with for this purpose. Without question. And I loved all those pieces so incredibly much. I love them so very much. So I would absolutely do that. I have a ring that he made that I treasure that is in sterling silver and has an emerald and an imperial topaz, and it's one of my favorite pieces. And it's all silver, like, but as you can tell, the shape is the Dorji or Vajra shape. But you have to remember, this is sacred throughout India, sacred throughout Tibet, sacred throughout all of really East Asia and Indonesia. So this isn't like just a tradition that's practiced in one place or one region. This is a very sacred symbol. What I'm doing tonight is pairing it with these mudras that I think will, and any mudra that you want to do. I taught you the protection mudra, when was it? Two classes ago? That we talked about the protection mudra, right? Where you put your index finger and your thumb together and your three other fingers together and out like that. Lakshmi, right, always has the left hand, feminine hand receiving, and the right hand outstretched like this. So this is your Lakshmi Ma mudra. And you can, again, any mudra that you would normally do, if you put your vajras in your hands, you are activating the mudra. So it's intensifying the mudra, it's expanding the energy of the mudra. Does that make sense? And you know, Annette, I hope it's okay for me to answer questions, by the way, as I go tonight, because it's kind of fun. It's kind of allows us to weave the curriculum together because you're leading us in interesting directions. And that's like, it seems similar in shape to royal crowns and papal hats. Also, Annette, it is. And if you think about two scepters, royal scepters also have a very similar shape. If you look at where the pine cone shows up or where the flower of life shows up, it's in every tradition, every country, every continent, every place, right? We have to remember, and I think you're so spot on, that we now associate these shapes and these symbols with like, oh, sacred geometry, or oh, third eye, or oh, pineal gland, or oh, Vajra. And it's like, our ancestors were all connected in ways that we aren't. And so you're gonna see this kind of shape and symbol. Think also in sacred geometry about the Vesica Pisces, right? The original cell divides, right? And so this represents really the divided cell, right? The egg gets fertilized, it creates that unified cell, and then that cell divides and divides and divides and divides, and poof, you have a human, right? So it's all in there, and kind of the soup and the mix. One of the things, and I'm sure it's the same for you, or you probably wouldn't want to learn with me and work with me, is when I see those connections, like my heart skips a beat, because it reminds me, no, it's our modern mind that goes, oh, this is Egyptian, and that's, Tibetan, and this is whatever a country or a tradition we attach it to. But then we realize, holy shit, it's what monarchs have used to represent protection for themselves, right? Or the scepters. Well, what does a scepter look like? It's all connected. And we could say, well, is that a happy accident? Like or was it conscious? And I don't think there's that kind of substantial accidents in terms of the integration of symbolism across traditions. I think it has to be intentional and meaningful. So let me just make sure I've covered all my notes, because you know me, I get weird about it. Is there anything that oh, no. No, that's good. Okay, I just want to make sure all of my, I love it. Tina's like, I've got chills on my chill bumps. That's how you know you've like, that's how you know you hit a pocket, right? It's like, oh, that resonates so hard with me on like every single level. And you know, it's not like, it's not just because it's like from one tradition or another tradition. We've had so many lifetimes. And so it's like when you hit a pocket where it's like something that just, it reverberates across every part of your active and subconscious knowing. I live for those moments. I love it. So yeah. So if you, Michelle's asking, what are your favorite ways and moments to use this tool? So for the longest time, my Vajra and my Dorji, however you choose to call it. And if you would like to see mine, can you just remind me? I feel, I'm telling you, I'm getting forgetful and I'm very busy and it's the holidays. I literally, I have my original tool, which I love. It's very pretty, by the way, but it's got metal and stones and stuff, and it's different than these. I wanted to bring it tonight to show it to you, and I left it on the entry table as I was leaving the house. I was like, oh, got my computer, check, got my purse, check, and then I'm like, so if you would like to see mine, not that you need to see it, but it'd be kind of cool to share it with you. I meant to show it to you, and so if you can just tag me or remind me, or Karen can remind me, I will take a picture of it tomorrow in Good Light, and I will post it just to share it with you. You may have seen it before because it's in my crystal room. So when I did those, like, remember in class, I took you into my crystal room and did a whole tour. It was like a 3-hour tour of all my tools. You probably remember me showing it to you then because it's been with me for a long time. Consistently for me, until I started to get into this practice, I always worked with it simply and primarily as a tool for protection. And what's interesting is the last couple of years, yeah, I can try and show you tonight, but I really would love to take a picture in natural light because it's gonna look different, but it's because it's already getting dark. But remind me and I'll show you tomorrow. I really looked at it as a symbol of protection, and then in my own practice, and you've seen me kind of go through this transformation, I don't do a lot of protection work these days. I used to be really kind of more focused on it, or think, oh, after, I don't know, anytime I felt like there was a low vibration or anything was kind of off, I would like pull out protection tools and do that. But I've really become more of the mind that the best form of protection you have is vibrational, and working with a vibration of love, or just making sure that you are releasing fear, is the best way actually to mitigate any kind of negative or low vibration. It's very hard for anything negative or low to sustain itself in the presence of love, to sustain itself in the presence of peace. So that's when I started to look at what are other ways to work with this tool, which is the origin of how this entire class came about for you. Because I was like, if it isn't just a symbol of protection, which actually is so one-dimensional, right? I mean, I think when we look at the origin story of Vajras and Dorjis, it's so much more complex than that. When I started to make the connection between mudra work, and holding these in your hands as tools, and like I said, even if you only have one, you're going to, I want to make sure I'm telling you the right hand. You're going to put your bell in your right hand and the Vajra in the left hand. So don't use your right hand Vajra, use your bell. I started to put this together as like a different way to work with the tools themselves. And so it's above and beyond protection. It's abundance, it's prosperity, it's beauty, right? We've talked about everything tonight. It's consciousness, it's passion, it's, I'm just looking at the list of words I came up with for tonight. Abundance, life, divine feminine, beauty, gratitude, right? Picking the flowers and releasing them, right? Showing that you are grateful for what the earth creates and releasing it back. Holding it in the wrong hand, but you know what I mean? Like showing that you're grateful for what the earth creates and releasing it back as an offering. All of these things. Yeah. And it's interesting that Tina says that. She said, you taught me well, my light protects me, and I rarely think about protection unless I'm bringing in another person to help. Sometimes, I've also found that your intuition is always your best tool when it comes to protection. And I've also found that how many times has this happened to you? If you have this feeling that like something's off, or someone shouldn't be in your space, or don't go left, go right, you know what I mean? And you don't trust it. I think those are the moments when we the universe tries to kind of look out for us, and we're like, they told me to go right and I went left, or whatever. They told me to go left and I went right, and that's kind of, so I do think just trusting your intuition, also trusting timing, like when you have delays, you're supposed to be somewhere at a certain time and it doesn't work out, you're not there on time. And in human time we go, oh, it's too bad, like I missed it, or I wasn't there at the right time, and it's like, you were protected. I just think, like, if you trust your intuition, if you really start to read people's energy in the room, in Muggle language we call it reading the room, but if you really start to read people's energy, you'll know who's meant to be in your space and who's not. And I'm trying to teach my kids that a little bit earlier because, frankly, I learned it too late. It really wasn't, like I said, it wasn't until I was in high school that late high school, that I really started to learn anything like what I'm teaching you. And you may say, well, that's still really young. But honestly, I had already gotten myself kind of mixed in with the wrong kids. I mean, there's a lot about my early years that you may or may not know, depending on how long you've been with me. But I got into so much trouble in high school. And I actually didn't graduate from high school, which a lot of you know, but some of you may not know. I dropped out and took the California high school proficiency exam, and my parents' restaurant burned down, and I got a job, and I started community college at 17, which is how I was able to finish my PhD at 29. I was really young. But I had just really been mixed up with the wrong crowds. And I look back now, and my mom was trying to tell me, and my own intuition was trying to tell me, and all these things. And so with my kids now, I mean, I don't regret my path because it's actually really cool. I'm one of very few people in the world who has no high school diploma but a PhD, and I'm really proud of it. But and my kids know it, and they're proud of it too, but it doesn't make them want to drop out. It makes them want to, like, make sure they're aligned with the right crowd. I went and watched my high school graduation from the kind of the street while everybody was walking and graduating. I went and watched it. It was heartbreaking, you know? So anyway, we live and we learn. Whatever, you know what I mean? I don't regret my path, but I do look back and realize I was kind of being guided at the time, and I really was not listening to anything. And then it was when I dropped out and got a job and could afford to take some classes, which ironically I wouldn't have been able to probably if I hadn't gotten a job at 17 and started working full time. That I was able to afford to take classes, and that was the first time I took a class, and my first class was on psychic development, and the rest of my life changed. So anyway, so let's switch gears. Let's go to our worksheets. Yeah, and I'm so proud of you guys. You know, no matter what path you're on, it's just cool. You know, I started working at 15, but I started working full-time at 17. I know, Karen, thank you for the time check. The good thing is we've been doing Q&A as we've gone along, so I'm still gonna leave time for questions. We are also, Karen, going a little bit over the top of the hour tonight because we had some technical issues and it set us back a little bit. So that's a good reminder for the group too. I probably will be with you until about 5:10 tonight because we started a little late. We had two hiccups that got us going a little bit late today. Okay, so let's go to the worksheets, if you will, darling, for tonight. These are the crystal prescriptions for integration and reflection, and I want to show you these different stones. I will tell you there's two others that are not on the list, okay? One is Dravite, the other is Fire Opal. For me personally, I would add those, and Christiana, cheers to you, darling, and congratulations on graduating. So grateful you were here tonight. The only two stones that I would add to your worksheet, or we will add them to the list that are not here, are Dravite and Fire Opal. Those for me are as above, so below integration stones. So, but they also represent the sacral chakra and the root chakra, and integration for me is oftentimes about bringing big ethereal concepts, like things that are hard to understand, and grounding them in. I always say, if you can't explain things to me in simple terms, you probably don't understand them. People who like use big words and you know what I mean? And then I go, well, what do you really mean? And they're like, you know, integration for me, if you've really integrated your wisdom and your spiritual path, you can take big abstract concepts and you can explain them to me in lay language or lay terms. That's how I know you've really integrated your wisdom and your magic, okay? So, but we're going to talk about the rest of them tonight because they are very, very important for our path. The first one we're going to talk about tonight is brookite. It is most often formed and found as an inclusion in quartz, and it's one of the Synergy 12 stones. Brookite in the Synergy 12 is the cosmic pathway stone. It helps to facilitate cosmic communication. And again, I think of communication as sort of bringing information from all channels and all light forms into your own energetic field. That for me is like, if we can do that, then we've really mastered what I consider to be wisdom. Okay, so brookite does that. If you are trying to build bridges with people, to build bridges across, you know, I even think of like long distance relationships, brookite is a great tool because it builds these energetic pathways and communication pathways. It's also really helpful if you're kind of in a stalemate and the communication is cut off with someone. It helps to facilitate more open communication. And yeah, everything from tonight will be in your notes. So if I hope that you were able to just be in the moment, and we will do our best to make sure. Karen, if you remind me, I actually have an image of just the hand formations without the tools that I can send to you. And so Karen can just post the snapshots of what the hands look like for the different mudras, and then the rest of the information will be in your notes. Okay? Now, I'm going to go through these a little bit quickly. Honey calcite, of course, helps you release stuck energy, but it also helps you integrate the divine feminine, so we had to put that there. We have purple chalcedony for you, which is associated with the divine feminine. This is a gorgeous piece. Purple chalcedony has a very maternal energy to it. It also is gently grounding and protective, and is perfect for dream work and astral travel. Kambaba jasper is really cool for integration. Kambaba jasper is actually one of the original life forms on the planet. It's fossilized algae from the bottom of the ocean as the planet was forming near Africa, which is a lot of people don't realize. And so it really is like, just like we call a stromatolite like the lungs of the earth, Kambaba jasper is sort of like the father of the earth. And I think of this as very strong in terms of helping you integrate your experience. Picasso jasper, stone of shadow integration. So it's integrating, and I would also put snowflake obsidian in this category, golden sheen obsidian, integrating the parts of yourself you don't like or can't accept so that it all becomes part of your alchemy. I have qualities I don't love about myself. I guess I love them. I wish that they were slightly different, right? But I am who I am. I have learned how to either mine the gold from those qualities in myself. Like, I can get frustrated. I am type A, and I wanted whatever is happening, I wanted it done yesterday. But that's also made me very goal oriented and successful. So it's like taking the things that you know about yourself that are kind of tough to love and figuring out what the gifts of them are. Picasso jasper, golden sheen jasper, or golden sheen obsidian, and snowflake obsidian are all stones of shadow integration. Angel aura quartz, why is that? For me, and we talked about this in the worksheet, it brightens your auric field. So again, all of these kind of have that shadow integration feel. I think these are really important partner stones to work with Picasso jasper and angel aura. We talked about the aqua aura last night too in SGTV, and I just want to mention that. I also think of aqua aura as a cosmic cleanser and purifier that's really good for integrating kind of the tough aspects of yourself and making good use of them, if you will. So that's there for you. Rutilated quartz. I don't think we have a piece on my tray, really? Oh, that's not rutilated quartz. Maybe it is. It looks like a strophalite. Q siren. Where's my flashlight? Let me just take a look. I don't want to take too much time with this, but oh, it is rutilated quartz. It just looked like a strophalite. This is rutilated quartz. It's actually a cool piece. My mistake. Bad vision. And yes, prayers up to the sirens. Don't you always think about that? If there's sirens, somebody needs to get somewhere very quickly because there's a problem. So I always just kind of imagine my energy going out to smooth the pathway for them. Rutilated quartz, we talked about this last night. Robin actually shared with us. Robin, by the way, was our employee of the month at Sage Goddess today, which was really exciting. So congratulations to Robin. She's beyond deserving. Rutilated quartz is for transformation, and it always grows in hematite, which is for grounding. And so that's one of the reasons we love it for integration. Titanium aura, we talked about titanium the last couple of gem shows too. Super important for strength, perseverance, and tenacity. So we love that. Golden sheen obsidian, we talked about it already. I love these little stars. It's like your little sheriff badge of owning your shadow. Snowflake obsidian we talked about, which is here. Shiva lingam is so important for divine feminine and divine masculine integration. So that is important for us. Tanzanite, really important for integrating your psychic gifts and your intuition. So we love that for integration. Tryphane is about integrating all aspects of relationships that are out of order and bringing those into order. Tryphane creates harmony, especially in romantic relationships. I know, Oscar's like, still more handsome star of the show. He's bigger than you, Oscar. Whatever, he's got nothing on me. Size doesn't matter when it comes to stones. That's what you taught us all these years. Look at, he's bigger than Oscar. I should make an Oscar sandwich. Don't you dare do that. You're so naughty. Okay. Some people don't know who Oscar is, and when I start going into Oscar, they're like, this woman needs a lot of help. They have no idea. They don't know you, darling. I actually thought about gluing Oscar. He doesn't want me to, but wouldn't it be cool to glue him to my my wand stand from last night? So that he doesn't get lost anymore. I'm sorry, Oscar. Don't you dare glue me anything, for fuck's sake. And then green tourmaline, which is about integrating your wisdom. Especially the wisdom of your heart. My God. No, people do. They're like, I was with you until this Oscar thing. And I'm like, did you hear that, Oscar? It's like, you know what? Get lost. Too cool for school. Star of the show. Trending on TikTok. One of these days. Poor Oscar. Okay. Cheers. Now, I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about your graduation because it's very important, and then I'm going to officiate a little graduation ceremony for you, and then I'm going to hang for questions. I'll see what questions you have and talk to you also about next year, because we do have a new program for 2024. If you are in programs, which you are if you're here, you've been rolled over into the new programs. You have three choices. You can stay in the program you're in. So like if you're just in Crystalpedia on its own, you're going to be rolled over into what's called Sacred Circle, which is really cool. And we will be working with stones, but that's going to be a Sunday class in my house. So sometimes we'll be cooking and sometimes we'll be crafting and sometimes I'll travel with you. It's going to be really fun. If you are in the full Living Magic program, you've been rolled over into Apothecary. If you want to go down to just the Sacred Circle, you can change that. If you want to go from Sacred Circle up to Apothecary for all 4 classes, or if you're not continuing, you have that option too. So you have to go into your membership page before December 31st and make your decisiones about what you're going to do next year. Okay? Now, I want to really take a moment and just say what an honor, and I said this at the beginning, but I want to say it now for everyone who's here and everyone who will watch later. What an honor it has been to guide you through this journey. Crystalpedia was named after my 4th book, which a lot of you have, and I'm really happy and proud because we've covered almost every stone in the book this year. So we have really taken you, I think, on a full journey, not just of what the stones are, because my intention this year was not just to do the worksheets. You may disagree. I think it would have been a little boring just to go, hey, welcome to Crystalpedia. Let's start with the alphabet and go through the stones. I tried to give you information about the stones, but also a new practice or a new set of tools or a new way of integrating the stones in addition to what stones we would work with for the thematic of the month. So that was really my intention. I hope it's been an enriching experience for you. I will tell you, I've pushed you. I always say this, but it's really true. I teach these classes the way I used to teach university. The only difference is you don't have a final exam, but I push you really hard. Sometimes I teach you complex concepts. Tonight, for me, is like graduate school level of crystal education. This wasn't easy to follow. It's pulling together different traditions. You are so smart and so wise and so gifted. And it is an honor for me because, and I say this to all of you, you are, I'm often humbled in your presence. I'm a practitioner. I know a lot. I've been doing this a long time. But you are practitioners. You know a lot, and you've been doing this a long time. So for you to be here with me, I see you as my equal. And what's really cool is I get to teach you some things, but I also learn from you in many cases. I don't know why I feel emotional about that, but I really do. And even when you don't know I'm watching, I am. A lot of you, I see the crystal healing work that you're doing in the world. I see how you are working to bring crystals to people in different ways and to put your own fingerprint and your stamp on it because you're unique and different. And I just have the biggest respect for you that you can imagine. So I want to thank you for letting me be your teacher this year. I want to thank you for being my teacher this year in all the ways that you have been. And I want to thank you for being open-minded to integrate some of these new practices and traditions, because it's a huge honor when I hear you say, oh, I went and taught this, or oh, in my Etsy shop I'm offering that, or whatever. It's like, it's a blessing for me to see how you take these practices and integrate them and then share them with other people in your life. It means so much. So, I do have a PhD. I am authorized to accredit classes in universities by training. So I always say, when I say this to you, I used to officiate graduation ceremonies. I used to hood doctoral students. So when I say this to you, it is quite official. My signature on your graduation diplomas really means something. And I hope you will, after tonight, you are welcome to put Crystalpedia graduate trained by Sage Goddess on your resumes. You should hang your diploma with pride when it arrives. You are an official graduate of this program, and I think it really means something when you tell someone, I'm actually trained as a crystal healer by Sage Goddess through Crystalpedia. I'm a graduate. So by the power vested in me, my forces seen and unseen, I hereby pronounce you a graduate of the Crystalpedia program. And that graduation comes with all of the benefits and all of the privileges thereto pertaining, which include your ability to use your title, the ability to put this on your resume, and to hang your diploma with pride. And I'm thankful for your presence. And the teacher in me sees the teacher in you, and I honor you tonight. So congratulations, you are a crystal pediatrician. I hereby pronounce you a graduate of this program, and I want to extend that gratitude to Karen, who has been our steadfast companion on this pathway and this journey, to Jared and to Athena Mack, who have helped so much in terms of making sure that and Alexis, who isn't here now but was with us for a long time and is off on her path spreading her wings, who all have their fingerprints on this particular program. And it's been a pleasure and an honor for all of us to bring this together for you. Cheers and cheers and cheers to everybody. It has been a labor of love for all of us. I hope you know that. So I'm going to hang out for a few minutes and just see if you have any questions. I'm going to be with you. We normally leave half an hour for Q&A at the end, but we kind of wove it in. So I'm going to stay with you for the next 10 or 15 just to see if you have any questions. And if you don't have questions now, I would welcome you. Our Crystalpedia Facebook group will remain active until the end of December, and then obviously, because your membership is active, And then starting in January 1, we will migrate our attention to the Apothecary Facebook group, which is new, and everybody will be moved into that Facebook group. We won't delete your group or anything like that. It just won't continue to be moderated, and we won't be posting there. So I think it's called archived. So you'll always have access to your content from this class for the rest of your life. Your group will still be there, but if you want to know where Karen and I are, we'll be over in the Apothecary group starting on January 2nd, because Team SG has January 1st off for the holiday. I have new shawls coming to you. What color do you want? Because I told the team I thought you wanted purple like this, blue and red. We already did white and black, like cream and black. So you gotta let me know what color you want, because we're in the process of making them right this minute. And thank you for that, Michelle. And thank you, thank you, thank you. We wish you well as well, not to be that. Congrats to you, Wendy, and everyone who's here tonight. I'm gonna bring this a little bit closer to me because it's kind of hard to, our technology, oh, and by the way, remember, someone's gonna win the whole set of the integration stones. Karen has the details. I think you have to shop before midnight. And there's a member only sale as far as I understand. I'm not good with all the codes and the details, but Karen's got all that 411, so let me see if I can bring this over. Normally I just scroll with my mouse, but I don't have that capacity tonight. I'm gonna knock shit over like I did earlier. Hold on, bear with me. Sorry. Just be closer to you. You want purple? Yeah, I think, do you want like a mauve, or do you want like a purple? You want dark purple? I don't even have a dark purple. That would be kind of cool, actually. Let's do purple. I love it. Deborah's like, duh. Madonna, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. You still want black? I thought this is kind of a mauve. I thought this was pretty, so I don't know. You know what I love about it is, I'm getting to an age, I don't know if it makes sense to you, but I still wear kind of low cut things sometimes, but I want to be sexy, but I don't want to be in your face. Like, I don't want I guess maybe the way I was in my 20s, but I still want a little bit of like, I think this is sexy, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I like things that are flattering. Every woman of every shape and size has sexy shoulders. So I just like to kind of like show off the parts of us that I know everybody loves. And it just leaves a little mystery without being like throwing it all out there. It's too much for me anymore. It's not. And it fits everyone. It does. It's funny. Do you know, my sister said to me at the book signing, she was like, what do I have to do to get a shawl? My sister's kind of conservative when it comes to clothing. She's got a very different, she's more like a Talbot's lady. And I looked at her and I'm like, what? And she goes, what do I got to do to get a shawl? And I'm like, you want a shawl? And I mean, we're at the book signing and she's like, yeah, I want a shawl. And I'm like, you know, me with my side eye, I'm like, and she's like, no, I really want a shawl. So don't tell her, but I got her a shawl for Christmas. Karen will have your details on the diplomas. That gets into that technical thing that I don't know enough about. And here's the thing, when I do tell you things like, oh, your diplomas are coming on this day, I'm always wrong. And then I have to go back later and tell you that I was wrong. So now I shut up and I wait for Karen to tell you, because Karen has the official details and is more knowledgeable about these things. And she just said, we don't have the details yet. They're designed and they're beautiful. I've already seen and approved the artwork for them. If that matters to you at all, they're really pretty. It's one of the prettiest diplomas we've ever done. And you will get yours. I'm not good with listen, nobody's hiring me to be an accountant. Nobody's hiring me to run your schedule. Like, that's not my gift. God didn't pluck me out of wherever and put me here to balance your checkbook. Sorry. Not sorry. You know what I mean? I'm here to teach and bring you shawls. You want a cloak because coat sleeves are stupid and Nebraska gets cold. I hear you. Do you remember the cloak that we did with the like brass clasp on it? We should bring that back. Yeah. Oh yes, I'm sorry. I forgot to say thank you to Samantha Deluzak. Holy shit, thank you. I did not mean to not acknowledge Samantha. Samantha was your note taker this whole year, and she did the most incredible job. And so in addition to our gratitude, you know, the gift that we gave her was being in classes, but I'll tell you, it wasn't easy for her to be in class and take notes at the same time. Samantha, you did an incredible job. The learning would not have been the same without you. And I cannot say thank you enough to her. And thank you for reminding me to remind myself to say thank you to her, because she did an incredible job. Don't you think? That's no easy task. I'm using like, I talk fast, there's a lot of complicated language. Like, she kept up with the whole thing. It was very accurate. Can't say enough. Sweatshirts. One of the things I want to work on is like an off the shoulder sweatshirt. I know this has nothing to do with crystals, but I do like off the shoulder, but like cozy. I'm not a hoodie person. We've had hoodies before. I'm not a hoodie person. I'm not. My favorite clothing company, if you want to know, is called River and Sky. Have you seen River and Sky? It's a little on the expensive side, so I only treat myself every so often, and they have a great sale section. It's made in California. I don't know what the clothes are made of, but you will kiss me on the lips when you order a jacket or a sweatshirt or whatever you choose from them. I don't work for them. I get nothing for telling you this. It is modal plus something else. And literally, when you get your sweatshirt in the mail, it feels like somebody's already worn it 1,000 times. It is like, but it's cozy and warm. And my sister lives in San Francisco. I got her a River and Sky robe for Christmas last year. She lives in it because it's modal with fleece. I will tell you, it's a very dangerous website. A secret is if you go on eBay and search River and Sky, sometimes you can find things on eBay that are used. I'm a big fan. I don't like new clothes, so I always, River and Sky is where I get my little jackets and sweatshirts and things. Everything's off the shoulder and sexy and warm and cute, and they have every size. You'll love it. They run big, I'll just tell you. So if you're a medium, order a small. If you're a large, order a medium. Everything tends to run big. Is there a Facebook group for Sacred Circle? There isn't, because we didn't raise prices on programs this year. So let me take a minute to talk about Apothecary for 2024. So next year, the new program is called Apothecary. If you haven't heard me talking about it yet, I'm going to ask Karen to link again to the guided audio that I did, because it kind of takes you through my trip to the Yucatan for my 50th birthday, which is where I met with the shaman and a lot of the ideas for Apothecary were born. We have two programs, right? There's Apothecary, just like Living Magic was a big 4-class program this year. And then we have, you can do just Sacred Circle, which is the 4th session Sundays at my house. We don't have a private Facebook group for Sacred Circle because it would have required us to raise the cost of programs this year. We have kept the cost of programs the same for 3 years in a row now, which is crazy, because all of our costs are through the roof. I mean, on everything, stones, people, building, rent, everything is skyrocketed, right? So, but we have kept our prices static. If we had done a separate Facebook group, we would have had to hire another staff member to help moderate that, and we would have had to have raised prices on your programs, and I didn't want to do that. So most people are okay with that because they recognize that it's probably better to maintain the cost of where we've been, which is $44 for 1 class and $100 for 4, versus raising the prices of programs. So there is a private Facebook group for Apothecary, and then if you are in Sacred Circle, what I would recommend is make sure you are asking your questions during our sessions together. There'll be plenty of time. It's going to be very informal and very fun. Like I said, that's going to be the let's cook at home, let's travel together, sometimes I might have friends or family or other things, and sometimes it's just going to be me in the crystal room in my pajamas going, hey, like, what's going on this Sunday? We will have tools for Sacred Circle and we will work with them, but there's also going to be plenty of time and space to breathe because Apothecary is busy. Apothecary is the big program where we are making a book of wisdom that you will, I hope, pass down to your ancestors one day. when I was in the Yucatan, there was sitting out in the middle of this incredible cenote and this incredible outdoor kind of, it was like a life-size terrarium. There was a book similar to this sitting out, and it was open to a page. And it was in the middle of the jungle. All the ink had run. Nobody could tell me who wrote it. But it had the Hunabku, and it had all these sacred symbols in it. And so we decided to have our own leather-bound books made for you. They're hand-stitched. They're embossed with apothecary and sage goddess. And all the paper is handmade and hand-dyed. It's all organic. So that you and I would make our own. And so every month we're going to do mixed media design and journaling in session 3. We're going to do our sacred journey with our different archetypes, even Lilith or January, so that's session 2. Session 1, we're going to set up our altar with our sacred offerings and our herbs and our oils and everything else. And then session 4 is the sacred offering class. Yeah, you know, one of the things we were talking about, Lena, is how we might want to work with our public Facebook groups a little differently next year. And I'm going to tell you this. I've always, like I said, I'm always an open book. If you guys decide that you want to start to direct the conversations in one of our public Facebook groups to be sort of focused on things that are coming up around what we're doing in Sacred Circle, you could almost make it into your own Facebook group, and Karen moderates that and I'll jump in. So that would have to be kind of a grassroots effort, but you could do it. I mean, it would be like a Facebook group takeover. Yeah, you can't, that's right, Karen said, you can't share class material, but you could talk about topics and ask questions and tag, you know, Karen and tag me, and we can respond to you. So it could kind of become your own space if you wanted it to. I'm just saying. Just don't be a naughty Nancy and put your class content in there, because they're not paying for it, so they shouldn't have it. Something to think about. This is the altar cloth that we begin with. This is the logo, which I've designed with Bruce, who's our graphic designer. This is the Kadusha symbol for healing with the phoenix. So we are rising from the ashes of pain to create a pathway toward healing. Isn't that beautiful? And the mantra for the class is, life is the altar, your magic, your wisdom is your magic, and your art is your legacy. And so that's printed on all of these. So big I can't even hold it up to show it to you. So with your tools are separate per the usual, right? So you can sign up for just the classes, you can sign up for the classes and the tools. Everything is the same price this year, nothing has changed. So the price of the tools is the same. I think the quality of the tools is equal. And they're beautiful too. We went to a lot of trouble. I mean, I know tools aren't everything, but did you see the new, so you're getting 3 vials of herbs every month. So this month it's black cohosh, the most incredible amber you've ever smelled, and pomegranate powder. And then we're giving you these custom blue apothecary bottles, like vintage ones, they're glass. And whatever herbs you don't put into your book of wisdom, we're gonna make into incense with the 3 oils, rosehip seed, the pomegranate, and the styrax. And then you're getting little red jasper and black obsidian apples for Eve and Lilith for our meditation on obedience and disobedience. And then you're getting the neem wood bowl. Neem trees grow in any climate. It's one of the most resilient trees on the planet. And we encircled it in copper, and then it's engraved sage goddess on the bottom. And then every month you're getting 3 new offerings. So this month you're getting rose hips, pumpkin seeds, pepitas for manifestation, which I'll teach you about, and then apple slices to represent wisdom and the divine feminine. And by the end of the year, you're gonna have a full bowl of offerings, and I'm gonna teach you what to do with these 2. So yeah, same price. I know it's crazy. I'm so grateful that we were able to maintain the price. Again, I don't quite know how we did it, because the only thing we changed this year is there isn't a private Facebook group for the individual class, but everything else is the same. Elder council is the same. The number of classes, the timing of classes. In fact, there's going to be more content because of the fact that I'm going to be doing a little bit more in the private Facebook group on the teaching side. So I think you're actually getting more for your money this year than even in 2024 than you even did in 2023. Nothing is changing other than that. So the first class, okay, so here's the other thing you have to know. And I think Jared posted it already. And I think Karen has the link to it, right, Karen? The January 3rd class. Okay, so technically class starts on the 10th. And there's 4 sessions. So it's like the 10th, the 17th, the whatever. On the 3rd, which was the Wednesday before we begin, I'm teaching a bonus 2-hour class all about my favorite 11 teachings of the last 11 years of our online programs. So for 2 hours, it's going to be live. I'm going to bring you all of the SG teaching highlights. So this is whether you're in Sacred Circle or Apothecary, you get this 5th bonus class in January. I already have like 10 or 15 pages of notes of things that I'm like, oh, don't forget to mention this and don't forget to mention that. So I think it's called Journey of Wisdom, the free class. So as long as you're in Apothecary or in Sacred Circle, so if you're here, just don't go anywhere. If you already canceled and you want to rejoin, you can. You're not going to pay anything till January 1 because the classes don't start until January. You already paid for December. But you got to make sure you go into your membership page and that you have the membership where you want it. Like if you want to upgrade or downgrade or leave or whatever, you have to do all of that before December 31st, okay? So we're going to talk about Pillars of Priestessing. We're going to talk about OLAS. We're going to talk, I'm focusing on concepts, not classes, but I'm choosing my favorite 11 things that I've ever taught you and doing a full recap so that anybody who is new-ish will feel totally ready for Apothecary because it's a little bit of an advanced curriculum next year in herbal healing and shamanism and mixed media design. And then anybody who's a seasoned professional, I don't like to say old, anybody who's a seasoned professional is probably going to cry with me because you're going to be like, oh my God, I remember that, or oh my God, I forgot about that, or whatever. It's going to be a nice revisitation of a lot of our favorite things together. So it's going to be just like all the other classes, Lisa. So yeah, just the same way you access all of your classes. This is just a 5th class and it's on Wednesday, the 3rd of January, and it's only for students who are in the new program. Oh my God. I mean, wait till you see the list I've started to come up with. If you've been around for a while, it'll move you. And then if let's say you started 5 years ago, it's going to give you a little bit of like a peek back into 7 years ago, 9 years ago. You know what I mean? And do you know how I did it? It was so emotional for me this week. I have all my notebooks. I have my original, because you know me, I'm so damn old school, but I have my original 3-ring binder like this, full, from sabbatical 11 years ago. And I went back and I literally was like, this is still all evergreen. Nothing in that notebook was irrelevant. I was like turning the pages, my handwriting hasn't changed. And I was like, holy shit, this is 11 years ago. And I have every single class, all of my notes from every single session. It's crazy, right, Karen? So now the trick is gonna be to like choose one thing from, how do I get one thing out of there? It's like, you know, 100-page notebook and it's floor to ceiling. Like, how do I choose one thing to share with you? So anyway, the original sabbatical notes, I've got them. So the way you get the Apothecary Journal, the Book of Wisdom, is by signing up for the Year of Apothecary in advance. Let me explain this really quickly. This will be available later for separate purchase for $100, $99. It's real leather and it's all handmade. These cost us an arm and a leg to make, and they're huge. If you sign up for the whole year of Apothecary and you do the annual membership, and this is why it's the best way to go if you know you want to do the program. You save 2 months, so instead of paying $1,200 because it's $100 a month, you only pay $1,000. We take 2 months off your tuition if you sign up for the whole year. And you can use Affirm and Afterpay, so you only pay $250 up front, which is crazy. And you get the $100 notebook as a gift. I know that's still expensive too, but for me, if I know I want to work with a teacher for a whole year and I'm going to get a free notebook and I'm going to save $200, that's going to be the way I'm going to go. You always have the option to go month to month, but this is for the annual option. Now the annual option goes away New Year's Eve at midnight. We don't continue the annual option. Right now I still have notebooks, so if you choose the annual option, you still will get one. You do pay for shipping on the journal. Yeah, I wish I could ship it to you for free on top of all that, but I can't. But it's not bad. I mean, we're making it as economical as we can. It is, I will tell you something, this is not a chintzy journal. I didn't make you a shitty journal. This is like, when you hold this in your hands. So the other story I want to tell you, when this arrived, because we ordered it, we designed it, and we ordered it, and we had them made, and they were all made by hand. And we were in the other room, right across the hallway over here, and it arrived. And our little crew that puts together your toolkits, it was sitting in the middle of the table. And I looked and I was like, is that it? And we were all like, there was a collective in the room. We all went, we could not believe. I mean, we knew the dimensions that we had ordered, and we knew that it was embossed and handmade and hand stitched and all that, and like the leather bound and all the things. But there was this collective like, oh my God. And yes, every single page of the paper is made by hand. Every single page of paper is made by hand. And we left this string really long because if you really do mixed media with me, this thing is gonna look like this by the end of the year. Isn't it gorgeous? It's really well done. You will, when you get it, you're gonna do what we all did and go, is that it? Oh my God. It's the fucking most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And it'll be all yours. And I'm gonna leave you with this. The reason I wanted to do this is not just my trip to Mexico, which was impactful, but when my mom died 2.5 years ago, which is crazy, it'll be 2.5 years in February. Do you know what was the most valuable to me? And I've said this to you before, but maybe you haven't heard it. The most valuable thing to me was anything she wrote down. If there had been, my mom was a very magical woman. She had a lot of psychic gifts. If there had been anything like this from her, we would have fought over it. I mean, I saved little scraps of things she wrote, little, notes that she wrote to me, torn out of notebooks and stuff. There was nothing like this, right? Her Bible, which my dad has. But I mean, there was nothing like this. So my idea is, I think it's important for you to have something that you will leave behind that's a document of your magic, your handwriting. I'm going to have you do your fingerprints. We're going to make our own paint this year, and I'm going to have you put your handprints and your fingerprints, and wait till you see. And Vanya's going to be our tutor. She doesn't know that yet, but Vanya loves me and I love her too, and she'll guide us where we lose our way. All right, you guys, so sagegoddess.com/apothecary, or just go into your membership page and do your thing. Cheers, namaste. Congratulations on graduating today. We have one class left, and I don't have them to show you right here. Actually, I do. The Yule worksheets are available for download because what's tomorrow? Oh, winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. And it's summer solstice in the Southern Hemisphere. So we're always on the opposite sides. I will be with you live at 5 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow, as I always am, to welcome winter. Although it feels winter as fuck in Southern California today. It's very cold and rainy. So happy Yule in advance. I will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We have class next Thursday. It is our full graduation from Living Magic. I will be in my doctoral robe. I hope you can make it. We're going to be working with your graduation stoles next week, which came as part of your tools. So make sure you are decked out in your regalia so that I can really do the do next week, and that will be Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. The last thing I want to say is if I don't see you tomorrow, I know a lot of you celebrate Christmas. I do too. Christmas was my mom's favorite holiday. And so we do Jesus's birthday. We sing happy birthday to Jesus. I know it's weird to some people, and we're also irreverent. So my sister and I are making gingerbread and homemade whipped cream, and I posted on Facebook and said, we're whipping our cream for Jesus this year. It's terrible. But anyway, we do sing happy birthday to Jesus. And then on Sunday night, as I have forever, I will be live on our main Facebook page reading 'Twas the Night Before Christmas to you. So if I don't see you tomorrow, I will see you Sunday night on our main Facebook page just to read you 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. It's the 200th anniversary this year of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. So I think that's really special. And a lot of you like to come and be with me on Christmas Eve. I wait until the kids are asleep and the house is quiet and the gifts are wrapped and everything's done, the food is cooked, to read to you and have a moment that's quiet together and just be in that stillness. So happy Yule, happy Christmas, lots of love, cheers, congratulations on your graduation, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, Karen. Have a great evening.